What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Throw Show, and we are almost in a true off-season throw show. We still have one big meet left with the Diamond League final. Trevor, how do you like your new setup?
I think this is pretty sweet. I mean, you have to get used to like getting this to the right spot, but I like
Pretty
it.
fancy.
Yeah, it's very fancy.
Does this make us like true podcasters?
I'd say so.
Are we professional?
Mm.
So starting off right off the bat with some sad news, John Powell, one of the best discus throwers in the history of the U.S. and the history of the world, really, passed away recently, about 5 days ago for us. I've never actually met John. I think he lived in Las Vegas, but I personally had, his camps were really big when I was in college, and I probably know 30 throwers that would go out to his camp every year and just go there and meet him, hear his stories, but also train in like his system. And I honestly, it sort of reminds me, and it sort of inspires me that it's like that's what the Throws U camp can become.
Yeah.
So it's like I think a guy like him, one, he had a unique movement, really technically focused. Push, guys like Mac Wilkins as well quite a bit, former world record holder as well. So it's cool to see someone like him have that much of a positive impact on people, even to this day in 2022.
Yeah, he didn't only have an influence in discus throwing and technique, but in like, the business of throwing as well. And
right.
I think that's, definitely passed on a lot.
Right. So rest in peace, John Powell.
Before we move on, Trevor, just want to point your more towards your head, just because picking up Dane quite a bit with where you're pointed. That's really good. Cool.
So there's been a lot of movement in the throwers world, in the collegiate world. One of those being Ryan Whiting, two-time world champion, coach of Darrell Hill, coach of Jess Woodard, who just tore it up this out season, had a huge, phenomenal outdoor year, qualified for world championships and the world championships final. Also just got, I think, silver at the NACAC championships. Just took the job at Arizona State as a throws coach.
Where he went to school.
Yeah, where he went to school. So it's I think it's pretty cool. Like,
Yeah,
it's cool to see someone like him, and I want to see I sort of want to see how it plays out too with his post collegiates, because now they have that potentially have access to that facility as well.
Right. Yeah.
So it's pretty. I think that's big, and it's also congrats to you, Ryan. That's a huge move.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, there's been moves all around. I guess before we go into more throwers too, like, I mean, let's see what else. I mean, McKay's gone to
Arizona,
from Penn State to University of Arizona, replacing Crater. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know where.
So Crater, I believe, from what I understood on his post, that Crater's moving back to Idaho, and he's going to help with the throws group there in the throws camp there, and what they've been doing essentially for like the last 20 years, really. And then Blue Trick took the job at Oregon. John Newell took the job at Arkansas after leaving Tennessee. So there's just been a lot of crazy moves all over the place.
Yeah. So we're especially waiting to see who fills the Penn State spot.
Yeah.
Because that's right in our
backyard.
Yeah. So I mean, we often have a lot of contact with coaches at Penn State, so it'll be cool to see who gets that job.
That's right. So that takes us into, I think, the coolest filmed discus throw.
Yeah, that is incredible.
Great save by Cici. Was this fifth round win to take home the Commonwealth gold. A huge win for Cici after all the stuff that she had to deal with in Tokyo, where she didn't get to compete. All the sort of just frustration and struggles that she's been dealing with, and even this year, she had a little bit of a back issue earlier in the season. So for her, she didn't really get to do much traveling and competing because she was sort of rehabilitating that back. But but then going from Worlds and not really throwing as well as she thought she should have at Worlds, and then going and winning the Commonwealth Games, the first Nigerian female to win the Commonwealth Games in the discus is cool, huge.
Yeah.
And the first garage strength throws you trained Commonwealth champ.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's also pretty
That's
cool.
huge.
And Obijeria Michi also got third. And Obi's coming back and joining back with the GS Throws You crew here in the next 2 weeks. So it's going to be cool to see how she really starts to develop. I think she's starting in 2 weeks. She's going to be an assistant coach for a school closer to New York City, where she's got a nursing job. So I think it's going to be fun watching her develop.
That's great.
Some more Commonwealth bombs. So Alex Rose just finished the World Championships, where he was the first Pacific Islander to ever make the top 8, the first Samoan to ever make a final. And then he comes to the Commonwealth Games, hits this big throw here, 64.56, put him into, at the time I think he put him into second place. And then he got sniped by Koye, and then who had a huge meet at European Champs. And then also Travis Michael, who beat him by 2 centimeters and ended up bumping him down a little bit. So he got 4th at the Commonwealth Games, but also for Alex, that's 4-spot improvement from his previous performance in 2018.
Yeah. Yeah, I just feel like he had such a massive year this year.
Yeah.
Just awesome to see him just competing at a high level just consistently, and I just think he's going to just keep blowing up.
It's cool because we were talking about this where 2019 Sam got 11th at Worlds, and everybody was like, wow, that's amazing, Sam got 11th at Worlds. And then this year Sam got 11th at Worlds, and everybody's like, yo, come on, you could have done better. And Alex,
throwing 2 meters further.
Yeah, exactly. Alex goes in and gets 8th at the World Championships. It's this huge high, and we really expected him to medal at Commonwealth, and he didn't get that medal. And driving back from the stadium with him in the bus, it was tough. He was heated. And Alex does not get pissed, and he was not happy at all. But I think it just shows the group and what the group's doing, how the group's making good progress, and each time it's that expectation gets raised, and they raise it themselves too as athletes. So it's pretty neat to see that, even though he threw well and relative to his previous performances, he did great, but he wanted that medal.
Right.
All right.
This is pretty crazy. So
Arshad
from Pakistan wins the
90-18.
Commonwealth Games with 90-18.
That's a huge throw. So it's Arshad Nadeem. What did he throw at the Olympics last year? And that's also a huge upset.
Yeah.
A massive upset, the Grenadians there who won world champion.
Mm-hmm. He got second with 88.
Yeah, and
64.
I don't know if I was gonna say, did Yago compete? So Yago got third. Peters threw 88. He also beat Keishorn Walcott, who got 4th. Yeah, this is interesting. What did this dude throw at World Championships this year? Jason, do you know?
Yeah, I don't know.
90 meters is huge. The win there was interesting too, because it was actually, for the Jav, it was probably pretty helpful. For the men's discus, it was a hard lefty crosswind, so a lot of guys were complaining about that. But that's a huge throw. Congrats. This is what
this is crazy.
Yeah, we were watching this, and he was warming up pretty big, and it felt like Tom. It felt like Tom Walsh. He warmed up well, had a good opening throw, was looking good, and he was just sort of chilling. And then it was as soon as I felt like Jacko had a big foul, then Tom came in, had a huge 22-25 to win it. Jacko went 21-90. So those guys really, really turned up well. And Scott Lincoln too, third place, started basically ripped a big throw, I think 2070, and bumped Chuck down to 4th place as well. So the competition was pretty good.
Yeah. I think it's insane. Just like, we brag all the time about how amazing U.S. shot putters are.
Yeah.
But when you take a tiny country like New Zealand,
They
the
only
amount
have,
of shot putters,
I think
that
they only have
they've-
4 million people.
right? The amount of like insane shot putters they've developed is
Yeah.
just is crazy.
Huge. And also for Jacko, that's just big. Like
Yeah.
coming out and going 2190, that's a huge throw. Now he's creeping up and like into those world rankings. Okay. So the Pakistani jab thrower got 5th at Worlds. Simone Peterson, 70-42, the world's coolest thrower in all of the throws. The nicest person on the planet. 70-42 to beat Daniel Stahl, who also threw 70 meters. I also think this throw is just technically, it's like really, really, really good. Hard to beat technique-wise.
And that's his first time over 70, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
I think he had PR'd before this throw as well. He had some struggles earlier in the year. Wasn't throwing as well as he wanted to throw. But yeah, if you look at what he did at Worlds, like he started to he was a little inconsistent on his first 2 throws, and I think his 3rd throw in qualifying was huge. And then he did, I think his 2nd or 3rd throw in qualifying was like 68. And he came back in the final and went 67 mid. So it's like he really just chipped at it over and over and over again. Went some, he had some meets in California back in April and May throwing 61. And to come out and do this is huge.
Yeah. How many throwers do you think go over 70 meters next year? How many do we have this year? We had 3 this year.
Peterson, Che, Stahl. Yeah, because Alekna hasn't hit it yet.
He's just under.
Goodzius was just under. Weisheidinger was just under.
So we got Joe Kovacs going 22.89.
Dude,
Massive.
here's my problem. Joe has thrown 22.89 twice. 22.87, I believe, 2 or 3 times. And in all of them, except for this competition, he lost. That's absurd.
That's nuts.
That's absurd.
That's
No
insane.
one's like,
They're like, those are top 10 all time.
Yeah,
Or
all
maybe
time.
top 15 at least.
no, top 10.
Top 10
Yeah.
all time throws. Like,
And he was losing in some of those. Like, it's not fair. It's
yeah.
like this guy's throwing 75 feet as much as Krauser is.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that also what's just wild to me is like they get so dialed in. Joe and Ashley really have, like, I think they have it figured out. I also wanted to point out, I feel like he stays down more on this throw just based off his right heel as he's rotating forward. And one thing I've said to Alex is that I feel like someone like Alex, Alex is going to have a kid here in November. And I believe this is with Joe. When you have a kid, you just take throwing like it's so much easier than your previous perception of the throwing world. It's like, all right, this is fun. This is my job. I enjoy my job. I'm fortunate to have this. There's other things in life that are much greater stress than this.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm interested with Joe is, does he get, like the comment here, dad strength, where he just starts popping off bombs even more?
Right.
And you feel, that's what I'm interested to see. So,
I mean, I've always feel like he's a pretty legit competitor. But,
I think,
even I think like I feel like just the, having a kid and realizing that this isn't the end all be all just takes that little edge off of, the nerves and stuff in competition when you realize this isn't my entire identity is wrapped up in this moment. You know, I feel like a lot of throwers kind of, when no one, whether you have a kid or not, no one should be thinking like that in competition. But I think lots of times, inadvertently you do sometimes.
I do think, and to be fair, I also do believe, I think Joe's probably one of the best competitors in the history of the sport.
Yeah.
You can't deny 2 world titles, 2 world silvers and 2 Olympic silvers. So this is a huge, huge throw, and he's done it multiple times. So it's almost like I mean, he might go, dude, I want to see what happens in the Diamond League final.
That's true. It ain't over yet.
Yeah. Huge news. The Kovacs are having a boy and a girl. So they're having twins, boy and girl twins. I can relate to that. But one of the things that I was going to say is that, dude, their kids are going to be animals.
Yeah.
And just total machines. Like, I think it's cool. It's going to be exciting for one, it's going to be exciting to see how Joe handles it, see how Ashley handles it as a coach. But two, it's just going to be cool to see them growing and blossom into whatever they're good at, if it is throwing, which is likely, but whatever that becomes.
Right.
I think both of them seem to be really great people. I've talked with Ashley quite a bit, spent a lot of time with Ashley and Joe, and they're really good people. And I think that probably going to be good role models as parents too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So congrats to them. And Trevor, you're about to have a child.
Yeah, we're like a month out. So
So how are you feeling about that?
I mean, I'm ready. I'm excited. Yeah.
What do you think for those expecting? Let's say Alex. Alex is having a baby in November, so you got 2 months on him.
Yeah.
What do you feel like now that he hasn't really considered or thought about?
I mean, 2 months. You got 2 months on him. I mean, I don't know. I think we just the more I learn, it's just like become more comfortable and more prepared. The more prepared you are, the more comfortable you feel. And I think it's the same thing just for I feel it's like going into my first state meet.
Yeah.
Nervous, don't really know what to expect. Don't take too much caffeine.
Definitely don't take too much caffeine before your baby's born.
But I figure it's the sort of thing that once you go through, you gain a lot of experience, and the next time you're way more prepared, and
yeah, that's accurate.
You know more what to expect.
I agree 100% with that. It's like the second time you look back and you're like, why was the first time so hard?
Yeah.
Second time so easy. Third time's a joke. That's cool though.
Yeah, congrats to them though. That's awesome.
So I watched this video and I thought this was so freaking cool. Rickson Opont, Chasing Greatness, I believe is probably one of the most popular throwers in the entire world. And if not, based off of his social media reach, he might be, especially with his TikTok following. He's got 84,000 on Instagram. And I don't know how many hundreds of thousands on TikTok. He's been featured on ESPN. Triple H offers him that job or that ability to go to be a WWE recruit. And he even just competed at NACAC. So it's pretty neat to see that. Mm-hmm. And one of my girls, or one of Dan Maroney's girls, is actually the strength coach for those athletes. So she's going to be working directly with Rickson. But it's, congrats to him because that's freaking awesome.
Yeah. So for those who, like me, who don't really know what's going on here, give a little bit more explanation.
So they basically, I think MacArthur also went to this tryout, and the shot putter from Alabama, he also got offered a spot with the WWE. So you go through the testing, and I think this was like a reality TV show where they show the tests, they bring in a whole bunch of recruits. They go through all of the different tests that they're trying to do and how coordinated, how explosive are they, what's their charisma like? Because that's also a huge role when you're acting and when you're playing these roles in professional wrestling. So they sort of go through all that, and then they try you out. They go through the whole system, and then they pick. Signs a contract. They basically, as far as I know, and the only reason I sort of have an idea about this is because I followed the one American Ninja Warrior girl who they signed, and they basically put you through the trials. They take you for, I think it's a 2-year contract to see how well you perform, and if you're developing sort of that persona that they want you to develop, and then you have that initial contract, and then after that they can extend that further.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so here's Eric Favors, 2050, breaking the Irish national record at Garage Strength. Got certified by USATF and Ireland after this meet. at the garage games.
Yeah, this is a massive throw.
And by all accounts, this meet was
Dude, it was awesome.
Like absolutely incredible.
Like the lights, the music, the crowd, like it was awesome. There's so many big throws.
Yeah.
Like it was insane. Like, I mean, 3 guys over 20. What did Lisco end up going? He went
2108.
Yeah.
Jason on the MC.
Yeah. Yeah, it was awesome. Everyone was throwing far.
What would you fix?
I don't think you can't come to the garage games and not throw far.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't matter, and that's what we always tell. Like it's people. It's the off season. People haven't thrown in a while. Like everyone's scared to come out and compete, but everyone who does always comes out and starts throwing far. Like no matter what.
Just because of the energy.
Yeah.
What would you change in Eric's throw?
I don't know. I mean, he dumps his right arm a little bit in the middle. But still, I even naturally think doing that might keep his weight over his left foot a little bit more at the front. But I don't know. I like that.
I like that throw a lot. Yeah, I thought he did a good job. I think his left, he's a little long, so he gets a little tight at the front.
Yeah.
Still a great toss though.
Yeah, I like that a lot. I think he's just gonna go from there.
So he's furthered the Irish national record by like 40 centimeters already.
That's nuts.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's awesome.
So Lawrence Okoye, this was huge for him. Like, I don't think people understand, like, one, that throw 67-14 gets third. 2, he beats Peterson. He beats Stahl. He medals at a huge competition, just totally stacked competition. Where Che also gets beat by Alekna. Alekna sets the competition record. He was coming off a huge victory where he got silver at the Commonwealth Games, and that was like that big sort of like breakthrough for him. I got to talk to him quite a bit at Commonwealth, and I think that he was having such like an up and down, frustrating year where he knew those big throws like this was in the tank, but he just hadn't done it yet, and he didn't really compete as well as he wanted at Worlds. So to come out in this situation is just huge for him.
Yeah,
it gives him a lot of confidence moving forward. And his first like really major medal.
Yeah, that's big, dude. Just watch how he works his right side around to the finish. Boom!
Yeah,
all the way through.
Yeah,
I love that.
He's so big. Just cranking. So, yeah, that's a huge.
Yeah.
That was huge for him.
This is nuts. 2024.
I feel like she's sort of flown under our radar. We've talked about her a little bit. We've been spotty with it. We talked about her a little bit after the World Championships, and she had tied with Sarah Mitten. But I think she might have the best technique.
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
For women in the entire world, and possibly maybe rivaling Krauser and Kovacs.
Yeah.
And Toon. Like, she moves really, really well. I had asked Peterson if he knew who her coach was, and he wasn't really sure who the Dutch are like, who the Dutch throws coach is right now.
Yeah.
I like her right leg out of the back. She's nice and long with that
really
right
like
leg.
Her left sweeps through to the front. It's like more rotational coming around, like to the front of the circle, and stays low at the same time.
And she stays really grounded through that finish.
Left arm opens, close, open,
smash. I also think, like, dude, she's so freaking jacked.
Yeah,
it's like that speed is crazy.
And just like watch. I think this is something that we haven't touched on in a while, is just how, like, nobody jumps at all anymore at the finish. Good throwers don't jump anymore at the finish.
Yeah, no one is.
Like, look at this finish. It's just like straight transfer out into the toe board.
Yeah, everything transfers forward. Nobody jumps. No one. Wham. Philip jumps a little bit.
Maybe slightly.
Slightly. He had some huge throws too at Worlds. One where he came out of the circle screaming at Tom Walsh, like, now it's your turn. Like, screaming at him. This is a big win for him, too, though. This is his first, like, real major, major comp win. What do you throw here? 2198 or something? Or 2190? Like, this was deep, too.
Yeah.
See if you slide over a few. Yeah, 2188. Yeah. Yeah, so that's huge. And then he got, I'm trying to think what the placing was. I think Ponzio got 4th or 5th. That was one I remembered. Philip going out 2188 in major competition, bringing home that gold is big.
Right. Yeah, that's a massive throw.
I've always liked his finish though. Like he stays on the shot really long.
Right.
He's also like so tall. When you walk past him, you're like, dude, what? Alekna.
Just again and again.
It just keeps going. Like, when is this thing going to land?
When is he going to have a bad meet?
Well, I think that's the other wild part is like, he just moves so well and gets to the middle and just slams the finish.
Is he? Did you like see him?
Yeah,
in person. Like, is he like size wise? Like, is he big? He doesn't look. He doesn't look. I mean, compared to other discus.
Yeah, like height wise, he's I don't know 6'3", 6'4".
Yeah,
he does have very long arms.
Uh-huh.
And I think like the one thing it reminds me of with Krauser too, with Alekna is like he's clearly been throwing for so long. He has such a good feel for the event, for the movement, and it's he's like so connected. He's just so automatic with everything. And he also, I don't know if you noticed, he's not dropping his left arm as much as he had been in the middle. But he's a little taller. No, he's not like Che or anybody like that, but he is a little bit, he's taller than Sam, but then he's not big.
Yeah.
He's not big at all.
I mean, he's 19. He still isn't, like, he isn't close to fully developing.
Right.
Like, just muscularly.
Yeah, think about a normal 19-year-old kid.
Right.
They might be able to bench 405.
Right.
Like, I think I did see him pad benching like 170 kilos for reps and stuff, but nothing. By no means is he this like hulking physical specimen.
Right.
But these two guys, they're not too far apart in age, Che and Alekna.
Right.
It's gonna turn. The discus is turning into the shot.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 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 Absolutely.
I mean, the women's shot is turning into the men's shot.
Right.
So it's it's just great for the sport. Oh, so this was interesting.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on this?
Let's
see if we get.
Yeah, so this was pretty interesting because I think it was Sam told me that in 2012 they had like 15 people hit the qualifying mark. In 2020 it was like 9 people, and this year it was like even lower. And so with discus going up to 67 meters, they might have 4 or 5 people hit the qualifying mark.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people are like up in arms, but one of the questions that I have is this just them setting themselves up to do away with the entire standard system? Because they did find, they had published a couple like fair play issues with at least 5 countries where they think that they were cheating with their submissions of performance. So they had issued this fair play warning, and then they came out with this. So one of my thoughts was maybe they're trying to raise this so steep that they get to the point of just eliminating the standard, and you have to be in the world ranking. You have to be top 32.
Yeah, yeah.
Which also it's like, all right, well then just make it top 32.
Yeah,
like, that's easy. That's not overly challenging.
Right.
I mean, obviously it is overly challenging, but it's not, relative to throwing 67 meters one off or throwing 2140 one off.
Yeah.
Versus getting into that top 32 spot. The other interesting part to me is they make 2140, and they had 2110 was this year, or 2120, whatever it was. But then Eric threw 2030, at the time, or 20:42 was his best, and he got into the meet.
Right.
You know, and Eric's counterpart in Ireland, same thing. He was, excuse me, he was below Eric's season best, and he got into the meet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the other interesting part, is that they're setting these standards extremely high, but then at the same time, they had a couple throwers. There's a Nigerian shot putter, Dotun, same thing, like high 19s. So I don't fully grasp why they're raising it when they already let people in this year with a lower standard.
Right.
So
yeah, I mean, it might just be trust issue. Like, you know, if they don't trust marks that are coming in, and
yeah,
you know, it's just to kind of protect that end a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it is kind of just turning into, and I think it's just like us changing our mind too, that it's not distance driven anymore.
Right.
I think it's just been that slowly, you know, they've been slowly transferring it over to the world rankings, and we're slowly changing our mindset. That's like, okay, this is the reality now. Like, this is what it is.
Right.
But just to go over real quick, so just in case you're not watching, we got 20. So for the men in shot put, it's 2140. For the women, it's 1880.
So 1880 doesn't change too much. I think it was 1850 this year.
Okay.
Not it.
Well, it's the same change as men's.
Yeah, it is still a pretty substantial change. Yeah,
it's a whole foot. Discus, we got for men 67 meters, women 6420.
Last year I think it was 6350.
Okay.
For women, and it was 66 for men.
So
the hammer throw also got pretty deep.
Yeah, 78 for men in hammer, 7360 for women.
Javelin also.
Yeah, javelin 8520 for men, 6380 for women. So,
I mean, the other thing is that's weird to me is that 67 meters was 5th place in the discus. So it's like, okay, so you get 5th place, and that's what you have to hit to qualify. Like,
right.
It's just. I think the most important thing is, in the U.S. we had it with. Well, I guess Andrew and Brian did hit the standard, but we were close to having an individual make the team that didn't have to hit the standard just based off their world rankings. So it does show you still need to go to a lot of good meets. You still have to go to a lot of good meets where you're going to compete against really good competitors to really be considered eligible to compete at the World Championships.
Right. I think the problem I have with the system is that it almost discriminates against young throwers.
Yeah.
That don't have just the bank of high caliber meets behind them. Like Maria this year, you know, now she wasn't quite in shape to make, you know, the world championships, but she did throw 1797 and was behind in world rankings of, you know, girls who threw low 17s. And it's you know, that's half a meter is pretty substantial. You know.
Well, the other downfall is they don't weight the NCAA season is not weighted to the same extent. Like, I think they should be weighting the conferences and the indoor championships and the outdoor championships a little bit more substantially.
Right.
So
I mean, they're big international meets.
Yeah.
Like NCAAs.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, just look at Yorinde, won both, and she got 3rd in the women's shot at Euros, and she got 4. Right. Or did she win the discus and get 3rd in the shot? Something like. And she also got 4th in the discus at World Championships. So, like, she's in the NCAA system this year.
Yeah. And same with Alekna.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So it shows, and Cameron Rogers, like, it shows the power of those events. So, yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. I'm excited. I'm excited for our guys because I think, and for our throwers, I think they're all dialing it in a little bit more because this puts some pressure on them. And it's just going to make everybody better, really. Yeah. It still goes back to the qualification procedures of trying to be top 32 first. That's the first goal, and then try and chip away at that big throw.
Yeah.
Until next time, guys. Peace.